Chapter 1. Aurora, are you sure you want to be recalled by the system? Once you confirm the recall, in 7 days, all traces of you in this world will be completely erased. Aurora closed her eyes, silent for only a brief moment, before giving the system her unwavering answer. Yes, I want to leave this world, erase all traces of me. But I've detected that the host is pregnant, the system noted. Should the child be erased as well? Aurora's pale fingers rested on her still flat stomach. It was the child she had longed for, but now she no longer needed it. Yes, erase the child along with me. As she said the words, Aurora couldn't hold back her emotions. Tears streamed down her face, and a sharp pain pierced her heart. No one knew she was a transmigrator, a woman from another world. She had come here with a single mission: to win the affection of the male lead, Ethan Windsor, and extend his life. In the original story, she was merely a sentient antidote. Ethan suffered from a congenital cold constitution that meant he wouldn't live past 25. She, and she alone, was his only cure. In this world of strategy, she wasn't supposed to develop feelings for Ethan, but he had fallen desperately in love with her, even taking a knife for her and nearly dying. Moved by his devotion, she chose to sever her ties with the system and remain in this world. The price for staying was steep. Ethan's cold constitution slowly eroded her health, day by day, leaving her body weaker and weaker. 5 years ago, her legs had given out completely, leaving her unable to walk and confined to a wheelchair. Ethan, who loved her to the point of madness, wasn't fazed by her disability. In fact, he spent 6 months learning the craft of wheelchair making, personally building her the most unique wheelchair in the world. Fearing she would feel insecure, for 5 years he personally pushed her into every high society gala, tirelessly introducing her to everyone. "This is my wife, Aurora Clark." Whenever he said her name, his eyes would shine with pride, his love for her surging and undisguised. At times like these, the other women at the galas would look at her with envy, wondering what she had done to deserve a perfect husband like Ethan Windsor. Worried she might get bored or lonely, he built her a private, 4-seasons garden at their villa, where every single flower was a testament to their shared care and effort. Knowing she loved small animals, he gifted her a Maine Coon cat, specially naming it Ashby, a homophone for Lovrora. Ethan said that when he was too busy with work, Ashby could keep her company so she wouldn't be lonely. Ethan had also told her that pregnancy would be too dangerous for her body. He said he could live without children for a lifetime, as long as he had her by his side. For the past 5 years, he had been meticulous with contraception. Except for last month. He had too much to drink at her birthday party, no precautions were taken, and she became pregnant. This should have been the best news imaginable. But just as she was about to tell Ethan, she accidentally discovered that he had another family on the side. And the other woman was her best friend in this world. She saw him eating food that woman had cooked, holding their adorable daughter in his arms, basking in the joy of being a father. After returning home to her, he would transform back into the perfect husband, telling anyone who would listen how he was madly in love with Aurora, how he could never live without her. And he was right. Ethan couldn't leave Aurora. If he did, he would truly die. The moment she saw his vows shattered, she no longer wanted to stay in this world. And she no longer wanted Ethan Windsor. Aurora looked down at the divorce agreement in her hands, which she had a lawyer draft this morning. She no longer needed anything from this world, so the agreement stated she would leave with nothing. She quickly signed her name, placed the papers in a file folder, and scheduled a courier pickup. The instructions were to deliver the folder to Ethan's office in 7 days. Next, she called the obstetrics and gynecology department at Glenwood General Hospital and scheduled an abortion for 3 days' time. Finally, she posted an adoption notice for a Maine Coon on a pet adoption website. Just as she finished, Ethan walked in, holding a large bouquet of bluebells. He leaned down, hugging her from behind, his warm breath tickling her neck. He was smiling, bright and happy. "For you, bluebells, do you like them?" Ethan's lips curved into a smile as he gently kissed her cheek. Aurora stared at the flowers. She suddenly remembered that her best friend, Selena Morgan, adored bluebells. And the language of bluebells was endless devotion. It seemed he had visited Selena and their child first, then, conveniently, came home. Aurora didn't reach for the flowers. She just stared at Ethan's beaming face and said, word by word, I remember Selena likes bluebells. Chapter 2. Hearing the name Selena, a flicker of panic flashed in Ethan's eyes, but he quickly concealed it. He blinked, half squatting to meet her gaze, his voice incredibly gentle. Rara, what's wrong? Why did you suddenly bring up Selena? Don't you like bluebells? If you don't, I'll never buy them again. Aurora looked down at him. Those handsome, charming eyes had once mesmerized her, but now her heart was as still as water. It's nothing, she said faintly. I just suddenly remembered Selena likes bluebells. By the way, she hasn't been over in a while. Why don't we invite her for dinner tomorrow? At her words, panic flared in Ethan's eyes again, but he hid it well. He reached out and playfully pinched her cheek. Has my dearest Rora been too lonely lately? It's all my fault. I've been so busy with work, with 2 major projects at the company about to launch. I'll try to take the weekend off and take you to the coast to watch the sunrise. How about that? Ever since Aurora had lost the use of her legs, she disliked crowded places. She had become fascinated with sunrises and sunsets, preferring quiet, serene environments to enjoy the view. To give her the best experience, Ethan had spared no expense, buying a private, uninhabited island abroad. Over the past 5 years, he would always find time to take her to the island for a month, watching the sunrise and sunset with her every day. How could a man who had loved her so deeply change so suddenly? But there would be no more next times for them. Aurora forced herself to remain calm. I just haven't seen Selena in a long time. She mentioned last time that she's dating someone, but I've never met her boyfriend. It's her birthday tomorrow. We should invite her to bring him over for dinner. The 4 of us can chat. Aurora looked directly into Ethan's eyes. My phone is in the bedroom, and it's inconvenient for me to get it. Why don't you call her? Ethan clearly froze for a moment, but still used her well-being as an excuse, stroking her hair. My treasure, I'm just worried it'll be too much work for you. How about we eat out tomorrow? I don't want to go out, Aurora stared at him. You know my legs make it difficult. All right, Ethan nodded with a smile, then took out his phone to call Selena. The call connected quickly. Selena's cloyingly sweet voice came through the line. Ethan, baby. Ethan cut her off. Selena, Rora says it's your birthday tomorrow and wants to invite you over to our place. Are you free? Selena's voice on the other end faltered for a second before she quickly said, Put Rora on the phone. Ethan handed the phone to Aurora. Selena's voice immediately returned to normal as she apologized to Aurora. My dearest Rora, I'm so sorry I already promised my boyfriend I'd spend my birthday with him. I know you love me, but it took me so long to find someone, hee. You'll let me have this one, right? Took you so long to find someone, to find your best friend's husband? The words stabbed at Aurora's heart. It sounds like your boyfriend really loves you. Selena's voice was smug and blissful. He's so good to me. He sends me flowers every day. Bluebells? Aurora asked. Ethan's face instantly stiffened. Aurora said lightly, What a coincidence. Ethan gave me bluebells today, too. I remember you like them. There was a brief silence on the other end, followed by laughter. Ethan has always been so thoughtful to you, Rora. You're so lucky. I have to go. I've got work to do. Let's catch up next time. The call was quickly disconnected. Aurora handed the phone back to Ethan. It seems I won't get to have Selena's birthday cake tomorrow, and I even prepared a big gift for her. What a shame. Is it another handbag? Ethan chuckled. After all, for every one of Selena's birthdays, Aurora would start preparing a gift half a month in advance. She had gifted her almost every famous brand of handbag, including rare, globally exclusive models. Ethan was used to it. Aurora maneuvered her wheelchair to a cabinet, took out a large box, and handed it to Ethan. This is the gift I prepared for Selena. Sure enough, it was a large Hermes box, exquisitely wrapped. My Rora is so generous, Ethan said, reaching out to pinch Aurora's cheek. Aurora said flatly, My legs are an inconvenience. You give it to Selena for me. Remember, you can only give it to her after 7 days. Otherwise, it won't be a surprise. Why after 7 days? Ethan asked, a little puzzled. Aurora smiled. Because there's something very rare inside. It's only meaningful if it's opened after 7 days. You must give it to her in 7 days, okay? Ethan was always so obedient, always listened to her. As expected, Ethan smiled and readily agreed. Don't worry, my treasure. Mission accepted. As soon as he finished speaking, his phone rang. The screen showed an unknown number, but Ethan's expression shifted. It was clearly a burner phone number from Selena. "My treasure, I have to take this call. There's just so much going on at the office lately that needs my attention." With that, he hurried off towards the study. Aurora stared at his retreating back, her eyes turning red. She casually picked up a pair of headphones from the cabinet and put them on. Just before Ethan had arrived, she had someone install a listening device in his study. The moment she put on the headphones, she heard Selena's tearful voice. "Ethan, sniffle, how could you give the bluebells to Aurora? Didn't you promise they were my special flower, just for me?" Chapter 3. Ethan's gentle voice immediately came through the headphones. "Sel, be good. I promise I'll only give them to you from now on, okay?" That gentleness used to belong only to Aurora. A sharp pain shot through Aurora's heart, making it hard to breathe. She clenched her fists tightly. She heard Selena say, "Then don't forget my birthday party tomorrow. You promised you'd take me and our daughter to the amusement park first, then go shopping with us, and you have a surprise for me in the evening." "I'll be waiting." Selena's voice was sweet and coquettish. Ethan immediately soothed her. "Don't worry, when have I ever broken a promise? I'll pick you and Melody up tomorrow morning." Hearing the name, Melody, Aurora's entire body trembled. So that's their daughter's name. Melody Windsor. Windsor adores Morgan. How wonderful, how loving. It was clear they were the happy family of 3, and she was just the unwanted extra. A little girl's sweet voice came through the phone. "Daddy, Mel has been a good girl. You have to bring lollipops for Mel tomorrow." "Okay, my Mel is such a good girl. Daddy will definitely bring you lots of lollipops," Ethan cooed, his voice softening. It was obvious he adored his daughter. All these years, he had always told Aurora that he didn't like children and didn't want her to suffer. He said their relationship didn't need a child to sustain it. It turned out he just didn't want her child. Aurora's pale fingers rested on her stomach. This little life was destined never to see the world. It was for the best. At least it wouldn't have to know it had a cheating father. That night, Ethan held Aurora tightly from behind, his lips traveling from her neck down to her shoulder, his breathing growing heavier. His hand pressed on her waist, trying to pull down her pajama pants. But Aurora stopped him. "Not tonight, I have my period." Ethan wasn't disappointed. Instead, he gently and caringly rubbed her stomach, just as he had done for so many years. He held her tenderly, his voice filled with emotion. "Aurora, let's never be apart for our entire lives. I love you. I really, really love you. Love her enough to keep another family on the side? How can one man serve 2 masters?" Aurora said nothing, simply closing her eyes. In 6 days, she would disappear. Then, Ethan's declarations of love would be for Selena's ears only. The next morning, Ethan prepared breakfast for Aurora as usual. He also fed Ashby a can of cat food, and the cat curled up comfortably on the balcony to sleep. Everything was so peaceful. Ethan wore a light blue striped shirt and gray trousers that made his legs look exceptionally long. He looked sharp, full of energy, and very handsome. Aurora remembered that Selena liked blue, so he chose a blue shirt. The irony was that the shirt was a gift she had given him on their wedding anniversary last year. He was wearing their anniversary gift to go on a date with his mistress. How utterly ironic. Ethan kissed her on the cheek as he always did. "Darling, I'm off to work. See you tonight. I've got a little surprise for you tonight. Wait for me." But Aurora grabbed his sleeve, accidentally tearing off a cuff button. "The button's broken. You should change." Ethan froze for a second, but then quickly smiled and went upstairs to change into a sky blue shirt. Still blue, but this one he had bought himself. "Be good, I'm off to work. Wait for me." As Aurora heard the car engine start, she wheeled herself to the door and called the ride-share driver who was parked nearby. "Come and get me." She wanted to see for herself just how loving their little family of 3 really was. The ride-share driver followed Ethan's car to the entrance of a high-end villa on the east side. Through the car window, Aurora saw a little girl, about 3 or 4 years old, leap into Ethan's arms. The girl looked so much like Selena. Selena, wearing the latest design from Chanel, smiled radiantly and gave Ethan a kiss. The scene stung Aurora's eyes, making her question what love even was. She remembered her first kiss with Ethan. He had trembled with excitement, saying he wanted to seal that kiss away forever, and yet, here he was, kissing another woman's lips. She even began to doubt if Ethan had ever truly loved her. but none of it mattered anymore. In 6 days, she would leave this world. Ethan Windsor would never be able to find her again. The family of 3 went to the largest amusement park on the east side. To avoid being seen, Ethan had even spent a fortune to book the entire park. Aurora just sat in the car, watching the entrance. Soon, Selena posted on her social media. She posted a 9-photo grid. Although Ethan's face wasn't in any of the pictures, his arm was visible in each one. In the center was a photo of a diamond ring. The caption read, "My Mr. X said he wanted to give me a birthday I'd never forget. He booked out the whole park just for me and gave me a diamond ring. He said he'll love me forever. I love you, Mr. X, I'm so happy." Chapter 4. Aurora recognized that diamond ring. Over a month ago, she had seen a design sketch for a diamond ring in Ethan's study. At the time, she thought it was a surprise he was planning for her. It turned out to be something Ethan had carefully prepared for Selena. He had started planning her gift more than a month ago. How thoughtful of him. For the past 5 years, Ethan had put immense effort into preparing gifts for every one of Aurora's birthdays. One year, he had even folded 1,000 paper cranes for her, like a teenager in love, saying it was to make up for the 18th birthday they never had. That day, she had hugged the paper cranes and cried with emotion, thinking she wanted to marry him again in her next life. How ironic, another wave of pain shot through Aurora's heart, so intense it felt like it would explode. Her eyes were glued to her phone screen. A mutual friend of hers and Selena's had left several comments. "Selena, you're so lucky that's a huge diamond. It must be at least 30 carats, right? Your boyfriend is so rich. Not just rich, but generous, willing to spend so much money on you. He must be rich. Look at the man's watch in the photo. It's a limited edition Patek Philippe. That's at least $5 million. Looks like Selena's boyfriend is a tycoon. Selena, you're so blessed, it makes me so envious. Hey, doesn't Rora's husband have one of those watches too? I think so. Isn't it a global limited edition? It seems Selena's boyfriend is on the same level as Aurora's husband. These 2 best friends are both so lucky. Mr. Windsor is famous for being a wife-doting maniac. Looks like Selena's boyfriend will be the second one in our circle." Then, Selena replied, "My Mr. X can't compare to Rora's husband. Although he's also very rich, he never has time for me. But I'm content. After all, he buys me whatever I want. I love swimming, so he immediately had a pool built for me. He says he likes energetic women. He loves sports, so I always work out with him." The comment section erupted again. "Ooh, that's some blatant showing off or things that steamy. Playing in the pool? Person above me, you caught the real point. Selena is living the high life. So happy for her. Who wouldn't be happy being spoiled by a tycoon like that?" Every sentence in the comments section made Aurora's eyes burn. Selena was indirectly saying that Ethan liked healthy, vibrant women. But her legs had been useless for 5 years. She couldn't exercise with Ethan. He had told her more than once that he didn't care. But the moment he turned around, he was in a pool with Selena. Aurora's heart trembled. She couldn't take it. Fighting back tears, she asked the driver to take her home. Once home, she hired several workers and posted a giveaway on a gardening forum. Any plant lover could leave their address, and she would send them a potted plant. All they had to do was leave a comment saying, "Aurora, you can do it." The post went viral, quickly trending on the site. Thousands of people wanted the rare, free flowers. Aurora had the workers move all the plants out and called a logistics company to ship them to the addresses from the post. These were the flowers she had carefully nurtured day and night over the years, all of them hand-picked and gifted to her by Ethan. There were over 900 pots in total. The 4 Seasons garden she and Ethan had built together was now destroyed by her own hands. Even the housekeeper, Mrs. Peterson, was heartbroken, asking her repeatedly, "Mrs. Windsor, what is wrong? These flowers are a testament to the love between you and Mr. Windsor, a testament to love." Aurora found it utterly ironic. She no longer believed in love at all. 4 hours after the post went up, Ethan returned home, drenched in sweat. When he saw the empty 4 Seasons garden, his eyes turned red. He looked at Aurora in disbelief, his voice pleading, "Rora, what's wrong? Why did you give away all the flowers?" Chapter 5. It was clear Ethan had seen her online flower giveaway post. Over the years, to get her rare flowers, Ethan would often browse various gardening forums, buying all sorts of exotic plants at high prices to make her happy. Aurora found it ironic. She used to be so moved. Now, she wasn't even sure if he bought those flowers to make her happy or to make Selena happy. If even affection could be split in two, she would rather not have it at all. Aurora had already composed herself. She looked at Ethan's reddened eyes, her voice perfectly calm. "I got tired of the flowers. Since I'm tired of them and don't want to care for them anymore, it's better to give them to people who need them rather than let them wither and die. Don't you agree?" Ethan froze. A sense of unease crept into his heart. He felt there was a hidden meaning in her words, something deeper he couldn't quite grasp. But then he thought perhaps she was just feeling down from being cooped up at home for too long. Ethan reached out to touch Aurora's cheek. "Aurora, it's all my fault. I've been so busy lately, I haven't spent enough time with you. That's why you're feeling so low. I have a surprise for you tonight, I promise. Okay?" His gaze was incredibly gentle. In the past, Aurora would have easily gotten lost in that tenderness, but not anymore. She even found his acting skills impressive. He had just been having so much fun with Selena and their daughter at the amusement park, even showing off on social media. And now he was putting on this deeply affectionate act for her. His affection was so cheap. Aurora felt utterly exhausted. She didn't want to watch his performance any longer. She pushed his hand away. "I'm a little tired. I want to rest. You should get back to your work." Hearing she was tired, Ethan stood up, lifted her from the wheelchair into his arms, and said gently, "I'll watch you fall asleep before I go back to work." He carried her to the bed and tucked her in with a small blanket. Aurora found it laughable. He was playing the perfect husband to the very end. She had seen enough and she was tired of it. She closed her eyes and turned over. Ethan's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and quickly rejected the call. Then he sat on the edge of the bed, gently patting her back. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. He rejected it again. This went on for over 10 minutes. Finally, after staring at Aurora's sleeping face, he took a deep breath and went to the study to take the call. Aurora wasn't asleep at all. She opened her eyes, grabbed the listening device's earpiece, and put it on. It was Selena, of course. Her voice was laced with grievance. "Baby, you promised to spend the whole day with me and our daughter. You also said you had a surprise for me tonight. I don't care. I want my surprise." Ethan's tone was indulgent. "You and our daughter play at the amusement park for a bit longer. I'll pick you up at 7. I have a big gift for you today. You'll definitely love it." Selena was overjoyed, her voice filled with happiness. "Baby, I knew you loved me the most. Our daughter and I will be waiting for you." After hanging up, Ethan returned to Aurora's bedroom. He stood by the bed, looking at her pale face, then leaned down to place a kiss on her lips before carefully opening the door and leaving. Soon, Aurora heard the sound of a car starting. She knew Ethan was on his way to the amusement park to pick up Selena. Aurora immediately booked a ride-share and followed him there. At the entrance of the amusement park, she saw Ethan holding his adorable little daughter, walking hand in hand with Selena. The three of them headed straight for Ethan's Maybach. Once in the car, Ethan started the engine and drove towards the east side. Aurora told her driver to follow carefully. The car drove to a Michelin-starred restaurant on the east side. Aurora saw Selena get out of the car, holding their daughter, and quickly enter the restaurant. A moment later, Ethan parked the car and followed them inside. A row of luxury cars was parked at the restaurant's entrance. Aurora's eyes fixed on a Maserati. She recognized that car. It belonged to Ethan's younger sister, Juliet Windsor. Staring at Juliet's car, Aurora felt her whole body tremble, her breathing becoming shallow. She gave the driver $1,000 and asked him to push her into the restaurant. She had been to this restaurant with Ethan before. He had an exclusive private room here, VIP 888. She had the driver push her to the door of the private room. The door wasn't completely closed. A small crack remained. Through the crack, Aurora saw the scene she had dreaded most. Sitting in the room were Ethan's family, his parents, his sister, and even his aunts. Chapter 6. In that moment, Aurora's heart shattered. So the Windsor family had known about Selena and the child all along. They had watched Ethan cheat, watched him raise an illegitimate daughter, and not a single one of them had told her. And she had gotten along so well with all of them. Just a month ago, Ethan's mother had gone abroad to consult with specialists, trying to find a doctor to cure her legs. And Ethan's sister, Juliet, would come to visit her every weekend. They talked about everything, it was all a lie. Ethan's mother, Eleanor, was happily holding her granddaughter, her eyes filled with joy. She even gave Selena a diamond necklace worth millions. And Selena, playing the part of the favored daughter-in-law, accepted the gift and said, "Thank you, Mom." That single word, Mom, struck Aurora's ears like a physical blow, making her tremble with pain. So the Windsor family had accepted Selena long ago. Everyone was lying to her. Everyone was acting. Her fingers clenched into a fist, so tight her knuckles turned white. She heard Juliet say, "Selena, you and my brother are so good together. But this whole thing can't see the light of day. Try not to be so high profile next time. If my sister-in-law Aurora finds out, I'm afraid she won't be able to handle it." Ethan's aunt, Agnes, immediately chimed in, "What's the big deal? This kind of thing is common in wealthy families. Our Ethan hasn't abandoned her despite her being a cripple, and has taken care of her for years. Does she really think she can stop him from having another woman on the side? Besides, Ethan is worth so much. His company needs an heir. What's he supposed to do without a child? Aurora is disabled. She can't give him a child. What if she gives birth to another cripple? Anyway, we've all been keeping it a secret. As long as we don't say anything, Aurora will never know." Hearing this, Aurora's heart felt like it was about to explode. So Ethan wasn't afraid that having a child would harm her body. He was afraid she would give birth to a little cripple. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She heard Ethan's low voice. "Auntie, I don't want you calling Aurora a cripple. No matter what, I love her very much. If any of you bring up my affair with Selena in front of Aurora, don't blame me for being ruthless." Selena's face fell for a moment. Then came the voice of Ethan's aunt. All right. Today is Selena's birthday. She gave you a daughter, she's a great contributor. On this happy day, let's not talk about Aurora. Come, let's toast happy birthday to Selena, and may your family of 3 be happy forever." The sound of clinking glasses filled the room, followed by the happy birthday song. Aurora felt a chilling numbness spread through her body, as if she had fallen into an icy lake. The soul-crushing pain turned her into a walking corpse. Her heart was gone. It was dead. She couldn't remember how she left the hotel, only the kind driver comforting her. "Miss, life is long, you have to learn to let some things go." Let it go? How could she let it go? Her life felt like a joke. Everything she had believed in had shattered and collapsed in an instant. There was no going back. When she got home, she locked herself in her room, sat on the balcony, and one by one, unfolded and burned the 1,000 paper cranes Ethan had given her. With them, she burned her love for him to ashes. Ethan came home at 10 o'clock that night. As soon as he arrived, he hugged Aurora and sat with her on the balcony. He didn't notice the scorch marks from the burned paper cranes. Instead, he pointed to the night sky and said, "Darling, look, this is my surprise for you. I hope it makes you feel a little better." As he finished speaking, the entire villa complex lit up. Countless balloons slowly rose into the sky, tied with banners. They read, "Aurora, I will love you forever, Ethan." The sky was filled with romance, but he failed to see the despair in Aurora's eyes. Ethan held her, his own eyes full of happiness. "Aurora, do you like it? 9,999 balloons. I love you. I want our love to last forever for thousands of years." Last forever? For thousands of years? How could he say those words? Aurora's heart ached fiercely. At that moment, Ethan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. It was a message from Selena. He thought Aurora was watching the balloons, but she saw everything. It read, "Baby, thank you for the surprise. I loved it. Our daughter said the fireworks show was so beautiful. I'll love you forever." In the eastern sky, a magnificent fireworks display was blooming. It was the one Ethan had prepared for Selena, Chapter 7. The next morning, 2 videos were trending online. The first was the video of Ethan releasing the romantic balloons for Aurora. The comments were filled with people envying her. "Mr. Windsor is so devoted. His wife has been paralyzed for years, but he never leaves her side and always surprises her. I'm so jealous. I hereby dub Mr. Windsor Glenwood City's most devoted man. Aurora is so lucky. If I were her, I'd be moved to tears." The second video was of the lavish fireworks display Ethan had set off for Selena, though no one knew he was behind it. The comments were full of speculation, wondering which CEO was wooing his young sweetheart. Again, the comments were filled with envy for the sweetheart. Aurora watched both videos calmly during breakfast, right in front of Ethan. When Ethan saw the second video of the fireworks, his expression clearly changed, but he was a master actor. He immediately got up, leaned close to Aurora, and kissed her cheek. "If my darling likes fireworks, I'll prepare an even grander show for you." Aurora put her phone away. "No need." She met Ethan's amber eyes. "Your love is enough for me." Ethan's eyes lit up instantly. He was overjoyed, kissing her cheek again and again, completely unaware of the nausea she was desperately trying to suppress. "My darling is so good. I'm off to work then. See you tonight." After Ethan left, Aurora went to the hospital. She had an appointment for an abortion. She was only a month pregnant. The doctor recommended a medical abortion, gave her a few pills, and instructed her on how to take them. In 3 days, she would return to the hospital, and the abortion would be complete. Seeing that she had come alone, the doctor couldn't help but ask, "Where's your family? Didn't anyone come with you?" Aurora's eyes were cold. "He's dead. The child's father is dead." The doctor looked at her with sympathy. "Try to be strong. You're still young, things will get better. Be strong again." How could she be strong? On the benches outside the OB-GYN clinic sat pairs of happy parents-to-be. Aurora touched her stomach. Her child would never know happiness. Dragging her weary body downstairs, Aurora had just reached the elevator when she saw a familiar figure. It was Ethan. Her heart skipped a beat. She thought he had found out about her pregnancy, that he was here to stop her from having the abortion. But in the next second, she saw Selena. Selena's eyes were filled with joy. The moment she saw Ethan, she threw herself into his arms. Her voice was ecstatic. "Darling, Melody is going to have a little brother or sister. Are you happy? The doctor said it's been over a month." Ethan's hand immediately went to Selena's stomach. He lifted her up and spun her around in a wide circle. "Give me a son, a boy and a girl, that would be perfect." "Okay, I'll definitely give you a son." Selena's lips met Ethan's, and they kissed passionately. Aurora felt a chill run through her body trembling uncontrollably, a near-death sensation washing over her. They were already having a second child, and just last night, Ethan was still acting, telling her he loved her. The irony was suffocating. Just then, Selena looked down and their eyes met. Aurora saw the panic in Selena's gaze. Aurora ignored her, quickly pressing the elevator button and wheeling herself inside. It wasn't that she was weak. It just didn't matter anymore. Once the system recalled her, Ethan's cold affliction would relapse. His life wouldn't be long either, but Selena panicked. That evening, she called Aurora, but Aurora didn't answer. So she started sending messages, one after another. "Aurora, I know you saw us." "Yes, that's right, I'm pregnant. I'm carrying Ethan's child. He loves me very much. I know I shouldn't have betrayed you, but I really love him. Is it wrong to be in love? Aurora, you haven't been able to walk for 5 years. But Ethan is a normal man, he has social needs, and he has a man's normal desires. These are things you can't give him, but I can. He's so wild when he's with me, because he can't get that from you. Aurora, curse me, hate me, I don't care. All I care about is Ethan. He's the father of my child. Our daughter, Melody, is already 3 years old. Do you know how many times Ethan has told me he loves me over the past 4 years? Even on your wedding anniversary, he would sneak out to be with me. And when you were asleep, he even brought me to your underground garage. Can you do any of that? Aurora, give up, get a divorce." Every word was like a knife, stabbing viciously at Aurora's heart. She turned off her phone. But Ethan, oblivious to all of this, still wore his mask of deep affection. He hugged her from behind, whispering gently, "Darling, I've already cleared my schedule. This weekend, we'll go see the sunrise." But he didn't know. There would be no more sunrises for them. Ever again. Chapter 8. Aurora took the medicine. On the morning of the 3rd day, a sharp pain gripped her abdomen. She went to the hospital alone and, under the doctor's guidance, took the final pill. She endured the intense, cramping pain until she felt something pass from her body. She knew her child was gone. The last trace of her existence in this world was also gone. The doctor asked her to look at the embryo, explaining it was hospital policy. After holding it in for days, the moment she saw the embryo, she finally broke down and cried. Selena had been sending her messages for days. At first, her tone held a hint of guilt, but gradually, the messages turned into provocations and even insults. As she was leaving the hospital, Selena sent her a photo. It was of Ethan accompanying her to a private hospital for a prenatal checkup. In the photo, Ethan was holding the ultrasound report, a wide, happy smile on his face. Aurora stared at the photo, her heart already numb from the pain, devoid of feeling. She didn't reply to any of Selena's messages. In one more day, she would be leaving the system. She didn't care about anything here anymore. She didn't want Ethan, and she certainly didn't want a best friend like Selena. Returning home, she began to erase all traces of her life with Ethan. There were only 12 hours left before she would depart from this world. 10 hours before her departure, someone on the pet adoption website agreed to take the cat. She sent away the cat Ethan had given her, changing its name. From now on, it would no longer be Ashby, but Phoenix. 8 hours before her departure, she burned all the gifts Ethan had given her over the years, as well as all their photos together. Then she threw her diamond ring into the swimming pool at their house. Ethan liked to swim, didn't he? She wondered what his expression would be when he found the ring in the pool. 6 hours before her departure, she had one last dinner with Ethan. The entire time, he was the one talking, while she gave only perfunctory replies. Later, Ethan took a call, saying he had to go to the office for an emergency. Aurora didn't stop him. She knew perfectly well he was going to his other home to be with Selena. Aurora sat silently on the balcony, watching Ethan's car start, drive away, and finally disappear from sight. She knew this was the last time she would see him in this world. By the time the sun rose tomorrow, he would never be able to find her again. She had once stayed in this world for him, defying everything. This time, she was just as determined to leave him. 4 hours before her departure, Aurora compiled all the evidence: Selena's provocative messages, the proof of her affair, and the existence of their illegitimate child. She sent it all to reporters at major news outlets. She was no saint. She couldn't forgive. When you've been hurt, you have to hit back. 2 hours before her departure, Aurora took a shower and changed into a clean white dress. She remembered their first meeting. She had been wearing a white dress then, too. Ethan had smiled at her, a clean, handsome smile. He said she looked like a fairy in a white dress, so pure and beautiful. On the day he proposed, she also wore a white dress. He knelt on one knee, his eyes red, and said to her, "Rara, marry me. I will love you and cherish you for the rest of my life." What a pity. A lifetime is too long, and vows are too fragile. In the end, all that beauty scattered in the wind, leaving no trace. Finally, she called a car and went to the seaside to watch the sunrise. The first ray of morning sun touched her hair. She smiled quietly. The system's voice sounded in her ear. "Host, there is 1 minute remaining until your departure. Are you ready?" Aurora smiled into the sunlight and pressed the send button on her phone. It was the last message she would ever send to Ethan in this world: her pregnancy report and a blood-stained abortion consent form. After sending it, she threw the phone with all her might into the sea. Then she slowly closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of the sun and the gentle caress of the waves, a faint smile gracing her lips. "I'm ready, system. Please execute your final task." 5, 4, 3, 2. Ethan's smiling face flashed in her mind one last time, growing blurrier and blurrier, until it faded into a complete blank. Ethan Windsor would never be able to find Aurora Clark again, not in this life, not in any other. This time it was forever. A final farewell, Chapter 9. At that exact moment, Ethan was lying in Selena's large bed, holding her in his arms. They had just been intimate, and Selena was breathing softly, her face flushed and alluring. Remembering he hadn't gone home last night, Ethan suddenly felt a pang of guilt. He quickly reached for his phone on the nightstand, intending to call Aurora. Just then, a notification popped up on his phone. It was from Aurora. Ethan hastily opened it. One glance was all it took. His entire body began to tremble, his face turned deathly pale, and his hand became so unsteady that the phone fell from his grasp and onto the bed. Seeing the color drain from Ethan's face, Selena blinked her eyes with concern. "Baby, what's wrong? You look terrible. Did something happen at the company?" His face ashen, Ethan violently shoved her away. The force was so great that Selena almost fell off the bed. She immediately pouted, her voice filled with grievance. "Baby, you hurt me. I'm carrying our second child now. You have to be careful, or I could miscarry." The word miscarry jolted Ethan back to his senses. He snatched the phone from the bed again, frantically scrolling through it as if he were mad. He thought he must have seen it wrong, but there it was, the blood-stained abortion consent form, lying quietly on the screen. He zoomed in on the image again and again. The words were clear. Aurora Clark, female, 27 years old, 42 days pregnant. Aurora Clark, female, early-stage pregnancy. Consents to abortion due to the accidental death of her husband. The date on the form was yesterday morning at 10 o'clock. Yesterday morning at 10 o'clock, he was with Selena at her prenatal checkup, and he hadn't even known that Aurora was pregnant. Calculating the timeline, it must have been from his birthday, when he had drunk too much. That night, he had been with Aurora 3 times, without any contraception. Ethan's heart seized. With a trembling hand, he dialed Aurora's number. But the call went straight to voicemail, again and again. "The number you have dialed is switched off. Please try again later." The more he couldn't get through, the more frantically he dialed, like a man possessed. Selena, not knowing what had happened, wrapped her arms around his waist from behind. In her usual soft, coquettish voice, she asked, "Baby, what's going on? Why are you ignoring me?" As soon as she finished speaking, she was met with a guttural roar from Ethan. "Get off me!" Selena was stunned. She had never seen this side of Ethan. Her hands, which had been wrapped around him, quickly recoiled. She stared at him, bewildered, her eyes filled with hurt. "Baby, what's wrong? What did I do for you to yell at me?" Ethan's mind was in turmoil. He got up and started to dress, trying to clear his head, but the more anxious he became, the more jumbled his thoughts were. Right now, all he wanted was to go home immediately to see Aurora right away. He dressed with trembling hands. Unwilling to be ignored, Selena got up and hugged him again, tears welling in her eyes. "Ethan, what is wrong with you? Everything was fine last night." Ethan's lips trembled. "Rara, she was pregnant. Did you know? Rora was pregnant. I have to go see her right now. She was going to have an abortion, but I don't believe it." Ethan muttered to himself, "She loves me so much, how could she not want our child? She must be playing a joke on me. Yes, that must be it. She couldn't possibly not want the child. She loves me so much." Ethan bolted from Selena's house, forgetting even his coat, and rushed home in a frenzy. The moment he burst through the door, he yelled, "Rara, I'm home, you're pregnant, I'm so happy you're not going to have an abortion, right?" But the vast, empty villa was silent. No one answered. Ethan stormed upstairs and burst into Aurora's bedroom. It was empty. He scanned the room and suddenly realized that many things were missing. His face turned deathly white. He rushed to the closet and pulled open the doors. Her clothes were still there. In that moment, he felt a wave of relief wash over him. He grabbed a handful of her clothes and hugged them, gasping for breath. "I knew it. Rora, you love me so much, how could you bear to leave me? You didn't leave. You definitely didn't leave." But in the next second, his gaze fell on a small box in the closet. That was the box where Aurora kept all their photos. The box was open. He snatched it. It was completely empty. Where were the photos? Aurora cherished their photos. When she had nothing to do, she would take them out and look at them one by one. On the back of each photo, she would write the date and location along with the words, "Aurora loves Ethan forever." Now the photos were gone. He completely lost it, screaming, "Rora, come out please, stop playing games with me," Chapter 10. Aurora didn't appear. Instead, the housekeeper, Mrs. Peterson, heard the commotion and came upstairs. The moment Ethan saw Mrs. P, he grabbed her arm like a madman and demanded, "Where is Mrs. Windsor? Where did she go?" Mrs. Peterson shook her head, bewildered. "She didn't tell me. She was sitting alone on the balcony for a long time last night. Then she told me to go home, so I did. When I came in this morning, she was already gone." "What?" Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "Why didn't you watch her properly? Didn't I tell you she should never be left alone?" Mrs. Peterson was also flustered. "But I didn't know you weren't going to be home last night." Ethan froze. She was right. He wasn't home last night either. He had stayed out all night. What right did he have to question the housekeeper? He remembered having dinner with Aurora yesterday afternoon. Thinking back now, she had been unusually quiet. He had been the only one talking, and he hadn't even noticed anything was wrong with her. He was a damn fool. If she had really gone through with the abortion yesterday, how heartbroken must she have been? How much would she have needed someone by her side? But he had spent the night with Selena. Because Selena was pregnant with their second child, and she had said she wanted a reward. for him to stay with her for one night, so he had lied to Aurora, telling her he had urgent business at the office and might not be back. He had left Aurora all alone at home to suffer by herself. He deserved to die. Ethan was consumed with regret. He thought Aurora must have found out about his affair. That's why she did this. He clutched the empty box, his legs giving way, his body feeling weak. Mrs. Peterson said, "Mrs. Windsor burned the photos in the box yesterday. I also saw her burning a lot of other things." Ethan lunged forward and grabbed Mrs. Peterson by the neck. "Then why didn't you stop her?" Mrs. Peterson was also aggrieved. "She is the lady of the house. How could we, as servants, stop her?" "Then why didn't you tell me?" "You've been so busy lately, often not at home." "How were we supposed to tell you?" Besides, Mrs. Windsor said her affairs were not to be discussed with anyone, including you. Mrs. Peterson's words were like a physical blow. Ethan staggered back, his face as white as a sheet, as if he'd been struck by lightning. It was true. Lately, whenever he had free time, he would rush to see Selena to be by her side. The time he spent at home seemed to be getting shorter and shorter. Even Mrs. Peterson had noticed. How could Aurora not have noticed? Mrs. Peterson frowned and told him, "Mrs. Windsor didn't just burn things, she also gave some things away. Haven't you noticed, sir?" Her words jolted Ethan's memory. His eyes began to search everywhere. In the cabinets, in the drawers, from upstairs to downstairs. He discovered that everything he had ever given Aurora was gone. Even the jar of paper cranes he had folded for her with his own hands had vanished. The cat bed was still downstairs. His gaze locked onto it. He rushed over like a madman. The cat bed was empty. There was no sign of Ashby. He called out in a hoarse, anxious voice, "Ashby, Ashby, come out, I have a can of food for you," but there was no sign of Ashby. Mrs. Peterson sighed. "Sir, you might as well stop calling. Mrs. Windsor has already given Ashby away." "What? Given away?" Ethan swayed, collapsing heavily onto the sofa behind him. Chapter 11. Aurora had even given Ashby away. Ashby, a play on Love-Rora. He had personally chosen that name. When he gave the cat to Aurora, he said he would love her for a lifetime, and Ashby would be the testament to their love. Aurora had cherished Ashby all these years. Once, Ashby had snuck out, and Aurora had run out into a downpour to find him. With her weak legs, she had fallen on the road, still calling Ashby's name. He had spent $100,000 to hire a professional pet search team to find Ashby. He remembered how Aurora had hugged the returned cat, her eyes swollen from crying. She had said Ashby was like her child, that she could never lose him. But now she didn't even want Ashby. Ethan was so devastated he couldn't stand. A weight like 1,000-pound stone pressed on his chest, suffocating him. Right now, he just wanted to find Aurora as quickly as possible. He would kneel before her and repent as long as she was all right. Ethan's throat tightened. He stared intently at Mrs. Peterson. "Did Mrs. Windsor say anything to you these past few days?" Mrs. Peterson shook her head, but then quickly nodded. "She didn't speak to us, but I heard her talking to Ashby when she was holding him." "What did she say?" Ethan stared at Mrs. Peterson, not wanting to miss a single detail. Mrs. Peterson thought for a moment. "Mrs. Windsor told Ashby, 'Mommy is going to a place far, far away. Ashby, you have to be a good boy from now on.'" "A place far, far away?" Ethan's eyes suddenly lit up. He thought he knew where Aurora might have gone. He quickly grabbed his phone and called the villa manager on the private island he had bought. Aurora loved watching the sunrise more than anything. He had promised to take her to the island to watch the sunrise today, because today was their 8th wedding anniversary. He firmly believed that Aurora must have gone to the island. "Hello, Mr. Sullivan, is my wife on the island?" No, sir. Mrs. Windsor hasn't been to the island in a long time." Ethan's face turned pale. "Are you sure? Maybe she's still on her way. If she arrives, call me immediately." "Of course, sir." After hanging up, Ethan collapsed back onto the sofa. His mind raced, trying to think of any other place Aurora could have gone. Aurora was an orphan with no parents, so she couldn't have gone back to her family home. He and Aurora had met at 14, and it was love at first sight. At the time, he had severe claustrophobia and a strange illness that left him perpetually cold. His touch was like that of a dead man. His parents had found many top doctors for him, but none could cure him. In the later stages, he even started coughing up blood. So many people avoided him, afraid he had a contagious disease. Only Aurora didn't. It was Aurora who took his hand and said with a smile, "You're not going to die. You're so handsome, you'll definitely get better." After that, he really did get better day by day. So he came to see Aurora as a beacon of light in his life. He couldn't live without her. He truly loved Aurora, a love so deep it was carved into his bones. He treated Aurora as his life. Now that she was gone, his life was almost over. Ethan desperately tried to think. Aurora had no parents. Her only best friend was Selena. Yes, he immediately called Selena. Selena answered. "Hello, baby I." "Selena, listen to me. This is very important. If you know anything, you must tell me." Ethan cut off her whining. He asked, his eyes red, enunciating each word. "Think carefully. Has Aurora contacted you privately these past few days? Did she say anything to you?" Hearing this, Selena felt a pang of guilt since she had sent Aurora those harassing and provocative messages. Of course, she denied it, immediately hiding the truth. "No, except for the day she said she wanted to invite me to your house for dinner, she hasn't contacted me at all." Selena's words reminded Ethan. That day, Aurora had given him a gift box, saying it was for Selena and that he should give it to her after 7 days. Today was the 7th day. He had casually placed the box in the study at the time. He rushed upstairs, frantically burst into the study, and began to search. Finally, he found the exquisitely wrapped Hermes box on a bookshelf. Looking at the box, he suddenly began to feel a sense of dread. His fingers trembled as he shakily opened it. Inside was not a handbag, but a collection of miscellaneous items: a photo frame, a doll, dried flowers, and a music box. And on top of all these things, an envelope lay quietly. On it was a line of small text. For Selena. "When fate ends, we part, we will never meet again." When Ethan saw the words, "never meet again," his heart clenched tightly. Chapter 12. He opened the envelope with trembling hands. A few photos fell into view. They were photos of him at the amusement park with Selena and their child. She knew. She really knew about his affair. Ethan's eyes reddened from the shock. Inside the envelope was also a sheet of paper. He opened it. Aurora's elegant handwriting was already dry. "Selena, you win. Life is fleeting. I always thought all vows could be eternal. When I first met you, you said you wanted to be my best friend forever. I also thought forever would never change. However, you didn't hide it well enough and you let me see. The child is lovely. It's a pity she has a mother like you. I don't know how you got together with Ethan, and frankly, I don't want to know. I don't want him anymore. Since you want him, take him. All the things you've given me over the years are in this box. I cherished even a single hairpin. I was blind. I deserved it. For the rest of your life, I wish you misfortune, because those who betray trust don't deserve happiness." So, she had known everything all along. Tears streamed down Ethan's face. He clutched the letter tightly, his gaze falling on the contents of the box. In a corner of the box lay a small pineapple-shaped hairpin. It was a birthday gift from Selena to Aurora. Every year on her birthday, Aurora would give Selena the best and most expensive gifts. But the gifts from Selena were always small trinkets. Yet, Aurora never looked down on them. She would always smile and treasure them like precious jewels. That's right. How could those who betray trust deserve happiness? Neither he nor Selena deserved to be happy. He couldn't imagine what Aurora had gone through in the days since she discovered his affair. She hadn't even confronted him. She had just suffered alone, day after day. Ethan raised his hand and slapped himself hard across the face. He stared at the letter repeatedly. Aurora said she didn't want him anymore. No, it couldn't be. They loved each other so much. They had promised to spend their lives together. How could she not want him? He refused to give up. No matter what, he had to find Aurora. Even if he had to kneel and beg her, even if he had to spend the rest of his life atoning for his sins, he was willing, as long as she stayed by his side. He then called his sister, Juliet. Aurora and Juliet had always been close. But as soon as the call connected, he heard Juliet's strained and urgent voice. "Brother, I received a message this morning. I just woke up and saw it. It's from sister-in-law Aurora." What did she send? Ethan felt like he had grasped a lifeline. He said to Juliet, "Aurora is missing." "Quick, tell me, what did she send?" Juliet said, "She sent me a photo. It's from the birthday dinner we had for Selena a few days ago." "What did you say?" Ethan felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His body faltered, and he had to brace himself with his elbow to keep from falling. Aurora had seen their whole family celebrating Selena's birthday. My God, what had he done? He couldn't imagine how devastating that scene must have been for Aurora. The laughable thing was, he hadn't noticed a thing that night. He had even prepared a romantic balloon show for her. He had shamelessly asked her if she liked it, even thinking she would be moved to tears. What had he done? He deserved to die on the other end of the line. Juliet was also filled with regret and guilt. In all the years Aurora had been married into their family, she had been good to all of them. To her sister-in-law, she had always been caring and attentive. And yet, she had helped Ethan deceive Aurora. She had known about Ethan's affair with Selena for 5 years, but she had never said a word to Aurora, watching as Selena gave birth to a daughter. Brother, I feel so awful. Sister-in-law Aurora was so good to me. Every time I had a breakup these past few years, she would stand up for me. Every time I was unhappy, she would find a way to cheer me up. I'm such a bastard. How could I hide your affair from her? And Selena is just the other woman. I actually helped celebrate the other woman's birthday. I'm not human. I shouldn't have gone to Selena's birthday party. What do we do now? How am I ever going to face sister-in-law Aurora? Right now, it wasn't a matter of facing her or not. They couldn't even find her. Ethan's heart was broken. He was filled with regret. He should never have pitied Selena in the first place. As he was thinking, the doorbell rang. Ethan thought Aurora had returned and rushed downstairs like a madman. Aurora, you're finally back, Chapter 13. However, the person at the door was not Aurora. It was his secretary, Linda. She handed him a courier envelope. Mr. Windsor, your package. It seems to have been sent from your home to the office. I was worried it might be urgent, so I brought it over. Hearing that a package had been sent from his home, Ethan immediately thought of Aurora. He snatched the envelope and tore it open. A divorce agreement lay before him. Aurora's name was already signed on it, and she wanted nothing. She was leaving him completely, with absolutely nothing. The huge blow made Ethan stagger. Linda quickly steadied him. She also stared at the divorce agreement, her face a mask of disbelief. Mrs. Windsor wants to divorce you? Everyone in Glenwood City knew that all the women envied Aurora for having a perfect husband like Ethan Windsor. Her legs had been useless for 5 years, but Ethan never scorned her. In fact, he cherished her even more. As his secretary, Linda saw it every day. Ethan would leave work on time, report his whereabouts on business trips, and insist on bringing Aurora to every banquet. If Aurora felt even slightly unwell, he would rush home immediately. To better care for her, he had even hired a dedicated medical team to look after her legs. In this world, how many women could be as fortunate as Aurora? Linda didn't understand. With such a good life, why would Aurora suddenly want a divorce? Linda didn't understand, but Ethan did. He was the one who had betrayed Aurora's trust. Everyone called him the perfect husband, but no one knew that Aurora was the perfect wife. For so many years, she had unconditionally tolerated all his bad tempers. Every meal at home was carefully planned by her. She never trusted the maids with his clothes. She washed and ironed every piece herself. Every morning when he woke up, she would have his outfit for the day perfectly coordinated. What had he ever done to deserve such a good wife? Yet he didn't cherish her, cheating on her and even having a child. He deserved to die. He didn't believe Aurora would divorce him. He adamantly refused to believe it. They had been together for so many years. Could Aurora really let him go? Did she really not want him anymore? He stared at the divorce papers with red-rimmed eyes, then tore them into shreds with all his might. I'm not getting a divorce. I will never get a divorce. I will not divorce her in this lifetime. As long as he didn't get a divorce, as long as he didn't sign, the divorce could never be finalized. He just had to find Aurora, kneel before her, and explain everything properly. He believed Aurora would forgive him. In this world, no one could separate him from Aurora, except death, but he didn't know that Aurora had already been recalled by the system. Her body was already being swallowed by the cold sea. Death would ultimately separate them. Linda, still unaware of what had happened, frowned and said, Mrs. Windsor is being a bit too willful, isn't she? You treat her so well, how dare she ask for a divorce? Shut up, you are not to speak of my Aurora, Ethan roared, his voice like that of an out-of-control beast. Linda's face turned pale with fright, and she immediately fell silent. She had never seen Ethan like this. It made her understand that Aurora's position was irreplaceable. No one could slander her. She will come back, Ethan said, as if to himself, his eyes filled with stubbornness. She loves me so much, how could she not come back? She's just playing a game, she will come back. Fearing he was losing his mind, Linda quickly said, should we send people to look for her? Ethan immediately replied, find her. Send out everyone from the Windsor Corporation. Turn Glenwood City upside down, but find her. And Ashby, no matter how much it costs, buy him back. When Rora comes home, she'll definitely want to hold Ashby again. Also, find someone to rebuild the Four Seasons garden. I want all the most vibrant flowers in the world. Oh, and no bluebells. Aurora hated bluebells. He would never touch a bluebell again in his life. Linda nodded. All right, I'll get on it right away. After Linda left, Ethan went to Glenwood General Hospital. He wanted to know if Aurora had really gone through with the abortion. Chapter 14. In the doctor's office, Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. What did you say? Say it again. The doctor across from him spoke bluntly. The patient stated clearly at the time that the child's father was dead. Normally, an abortion requires the consent of a family member, but since she's an orphan and had no husband, the hospital made an exception and let her sign the consent form herself. Look, this is the original. The doctor handed the original document to Ethan. Ethan stared at the abortion consent form, his heart shattering into a million pieces. He looked at the date. It was the same day Selena had found out she was pregnant with their second child. Selena had her checkup at this very hospital. His mind went blank. He couldn't bear to think if Aurora had seen him and Selena embracing at the hospital that day. If she had seen it, how heartbroken and desperate must she have been? My God, Ethan felt he was less than human. What had he done? He was worse than an animal. However, the patient stored something in our hospital's cold storage. She said someone would come looking for her in a few days and asked me to give you the locker number. The doctor confirmed again, your surname is Windsor, correct? The patient specified that it must be given to a man with the surname Windsor. Hearing that Aurora had left something for him, a flicker of hope ignited in Ethan's heart. Maybe it was a clue she had left for him, a way for him to find her. His eyes shone with an unprecedented urgency. Yes, my surname is Windsor. He quickly took out his ID card from his pocket and showed it to the doctor. The doctor glanced at it and then took a numbered tag from a drawer. Go to the building next door, basement level, and find the information desk. Ethan went to the basement level and found the desk. The attendant looked at him with an unreadable expression. When the attendant opened the cold storage locker, Ethan finally understood what it meant to be in hell. He saw a small vial. It was his child. The attendant also handed him a letter. The person who stored this said to give this to whoever opened the box. Ethan could no longer stand steady. His mind was a complete blank. He couldn't remember how he managed to open the letter. It was a single sheet of white paper with only a few words written on it. Ethan Windsor, you did not love this child, so she will not come into this world. You don't deserve to be a father, and I cannot be a mother. We are both sinners. These words plunged him into a living hell. The pain in his heart was so immense he could never climb out. His long fingers didn't dare to touch the small vial. That was his and Aurora's child, his own flesh and blood. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. He let out a guttural roar. Why, Aurora, why? Nothing in this world could break him, but now he was broken by a tiny vial. He didn't even have the courage to look at it for more than a second. Aurora, how could you be so cruel? You didn't even want our child. Are you disgusted by me because I'm dirty? Ethan collapsed to the ground, tears finally streaming down his face. He clutched the white paper, the coldness of it seeping into his fingertips, making him shiver. He wanted to demand why Aurora was so heartless and cruel, but he couldn't even find her. How could he ask? The attendant asked, Sir, are you going to take this with you? He was dazed and helpless, like a lost child. He stared at the attendant. Tell me, why was she so cruel? She loved children so much, yet she wouldn't even keep our child. Tell me, does she hate me that much? The attendant shrugged and reminded him coldly, Sir, you can't stay here for long. Are you taking this or leaving it? Ethan didn't remember how he walked out of the hospital. He held the small vial in his hand. Sometime while he was inside, it had started to pour rain. He staggered through the downpour, muttering to himself over and over again. Aurora, why don't you want me? Why don't you want our child? Aurora, I was wrong, I was really wrong. Please come back, okay? but the only reply was the cold, merciless rain. And at that moment, Selena was staring at her phone in terror. Every app, every news headline was about her affair with Ethan Windsor, Chapter 15. Selena stared at the headlines, at the photos of her and Ethan. She panicked. She completely panicked. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through the comments. My God, this Selena is disgusting. She knowingly became the other woman. The whole city knows Mr. Windsor is Aurora's husband, and she still went after him. Tusk, you guys don't know, do you? This Selena was Aurora's best friend. For Selena's birthday last year, Aurora came to our store to order a limited edition Hermes for her. With such a good friend, she backstabs her, steals her husband, and shamelessly has an illegitimate child. This world is insane. Mistresses are this brazen now. Everyone, look here, I'm an insider. A few days ago, on Selena's birthday, she posted on social media that her husband booked an entire amusement park for her, showed off a huge diamond ring, and even had a fireworks show for her at night. That's right, the massive fireworks show you all saw trending a few days ago. That was arranged by Ethan Windsor for Selena. Poor Aurora, betrayed by the two people she loved most. Oh my God, this Selena is so vile. Having a friend like her is the worst luck imaginable. And she has a child? How does a child of someone like her deserve to live? I'll be the evil one and say it. I hope she and her daughter both burn in hell. To the person above, if you've got more to say it. The bitchy mistress doesn't deserve to live in this world. Can someone please leak the bitch's address? Let's all go pay her a visit. In no time, Selena's villa address and even the address of her daughter's kindergarten were all leaked online. What was even more terrifying was that a second wave of revelations about her hit the internet. It was the vicious, provocative messages she had sent to Aurora. The internet exploded again. Righteous netizens formed an army to crusade against the mistress, vowing to come to her villa and beat her to death. Selena's face turned pale with fear. She quickly called Ethan, but she called again and again, and he wouldn't pick up. Unwilling to give up, she called Aurora. She wanted Aurora to come forward and quell the anger online, but Aurora's phone was still switched off. She couldn't get through. Her face contorted with hatred, she sent a message to Aurora. Aurora, I know you hate me. I know you want to destroy me. You gave those photos to the reporters, didn't you? Don't play dead. You want me dead, don't you? If you have the guts, come and kill me. Aurora, you're so pathetic. You think Ethan loves you? Let me tell you, he stopped loving you a long time ago. The first night he slept with me, he called me baby. He said I was gentle, obedient, and understanding. I gave him a lovely daughter. My daughter looks just like him. He loves my daughter so much. The moment she was born, he set up a $100 million education fund for her and bought her a villa in France. Aurora, answer me, do you think you can just play dead and I won't be able to find you? Let me tell you, if you drive me and my daughter to our deaths, I won't let you off easy. I'll drag you down to hell with me. Aurora, the one who isn't loved is the third wheel. You haven't been loved for a long time. You're the real mistress. Selena frantically sent all sorts of abusive messages. Unfortunately for her, Aurora didn't reply to a single one. The silence only made her more frantic. But she didn't know that Aurora had already been recalled by the system. In this world, Aurora was no more, only a body left by the sea. Meanwhile, Ethan had been completely shattered. He held the small, blood-stained vial and staggered back to the Windsor family home. By now, the Windsor family had also seen the news online. The entire household was in chaos. The internet was filled with condemnation for the mistress and Ethan, and also for the Windsor family. After all, the online revelations had exposed that the entire Windsor family knew about the mistress and had even enabled her, celebrating her birthday. The Windsor Corporation's stock was plummeting. Some business partners were already starting to pull their investments. When Juliet saw Ethan return, she immediately grabbed his arm, her voice urgent. Brother, look at the internet, your affair with Selena has been exposed. Now our family is embroiled in this scandal. I told you not to play with fire, but you wouldn't listen. Selena is not a good woman. Chapter 16. Look at how many abusive messages she sent to sister-in-law Aurora. She even told her about being pregnant with the second child. Juliet showed the news on her phone to Ethan. What did you say? A cold light flared in Ethan's eyes. He snatched the phone from Juliet's hand and began frantically scrolling through the news images. They showed all the messages Selena had sent to Aurora. Among them was a photo of him accompanying Selena to her prenatal checkup. And the time the messages were sent was the exact day Aurora had her abortion. Ethan stared at the images. He snapped. He completely snapped. Only now did he realize that Selena had been provoking Aurora, using the most vicious words against her. How could Aurora have endured that? No wonder Aurora wanted a divorce, even refusing to keep their child. The veins on Ethan's forehead bulged. His mother was in a panic. She said to Ethan, "Son, what are we going to do? The internet is flooded with this news. Our family's stock price keeps falling. I'm afraid we're going to go bankrupt." Mrs. Windsor frowned, displeased. "And that Aurora, really? No matter what, you've been married to her for all these years and you've always been good to her. She's a cripple, and our Windsor family never looked down on her. You just had one woman on the side, and she goes and leaks everything to the press. A woman like that, our family is better off without. What did you say?" Ethan's eyes were bloodshot, his fingers clenched into a tight fist. Seeing her son's furious expression, his mother was taken aback. "Why are you being so fierce? Am I wrong? You're not the only man who has a woman on the side. She's a cripple, she can barely even serve you. You playing around with another woman's? Shut your mouth, do you hear me? You don't have the right to talk about her. You don't have the right to say her name." Ethan grabbed a porcelain teacup from the table and smashed it violently on the floor. The porcelain shattered and his mother yelped, covering her head. "Ah, Ethan, are you crazy? I'm only thinking of you, for my own good." Ethan suddenly threw his head back and laughed. It was a terrifying sound, like the mournful cry of a wild beast. He stared at his mother with bloodshot eyes. "Why was I with Selena? Wasn't it because I got drunk at that department party? Rora wasn't feeling well, so I told her to go back to the hotel room to rest. And that day, her best friend, Selena, was staying in the room next to hers. I mistakenly went to the wrong room and thought she was Rora. Later, I wanted to use money to settle the matter, but Selena got pregnant. I wanted her to have an abortion, but she came to you. You were the one who told Selena to keep the baby. You told me then that Rora could never have children, and if Selena had a child for me, it could inherit the Windsor family business. I didn't agree. You made Selena kneel and beg me. When I still didn't agree, you made her cry and plead with me. Then Selena threatened me, saying that if I didn't let her keep the baby, she would kill herself and the child." Ethan gritted his teeth, staring at his mother. "It was your indulgence that led me step by step down this path of no return, having an affair with a woman like Selena. It's so laughable. I don't even love Selena. I was just playing around with her. But in the end, I lost the most important person, Aurora." He slumped against the cold wall in defeat. His mother was furious, gritting her teeth. "Ethan, have you no backbone? How could I have given birth to a son like you? Willing to die for a woman. That Aurora, she's a cripple. She can't leave you. Where could she go if she left you? This is just her playing the victim to get your sympathy. Call her right now. Tell her to get her ass out here and clean up this mess. Even if the Windsor family has wronged her, we've supported her for so many years. Even a dog would know to be grateful." "Ha ha ha, call her?" Ethan, in extreme pain, laughed again, looking at his mother with scorn. "You think this is a pity play? I wish it were a pity play. What do you mean?" His mother narrowed her eyes. Ethan handed the abortion consent form and the small vial to his mother. "See for yourself, she didn't even want the child. How could this be a pity play?" Chapter 17. How could this happen? A sense of unease gripped Mrs. Windsor, but she quickly recovered. "This Aurora is really too much. She gets pregnant and doesn't even tell the family. And then she uses such an extreme method to threaten you. I really misjudged her." "Mom." Ethan was in agony. "Do you have any conscience left? Don't you understand why Rora took this step? We pushed her to this." Her heart went cold. "She wants to divorce me, she wants to leave me, she doesn't want anything to do with me. Do you understand?" Juliet stared at the small vial, her body trembling. She gasped, her face turning deathly pale. "It seems sister-in-law really wants to divorce you. We're the ones who hurt her." "Mom, it's all your fault. When Selena got pregnant, you shouldn't have stopped her. You should have let her have the abortion. Think about it, what kind of good person is Selena? Sister-in-law Aurora was her best friend. She didn't even spare her best friend's husband. She slept with him. What kind of good person does that make her? Selena," a fire of rage ignited in Ethan's eyes. He clenched his fists, hissing through his teeth, I told her that I could support her and the child for the rest of their lives, but she was never to disturb Rora. She promised me, but she still went and provoked Rora. She's the reason Rora had an abortion. She's the reason Rora left. Ethan was filled with regret now. He regretted being soft on Selena. He should have been resolute and made her have the abortion from the start. If he had devoted himself entirely to Aurora, she would never have left. A terrible thought even flashed through his mind. What if Selena, wanting to become the official Mrs. Windsor, had someone kidnap Aurora and then orchestrated all of this? He stood there, his mind a blank, his fingers growing colder and colder. The chill seeped through his fingers and into his heart, freezing it solid. Whether she was kidnapped or had left on her own, he had to find Aurora. He would spend the rest of his life making it up to her. Ethan stood up and drove frantically to Selena's villa. He had to ask her if she had kidnapped Aurora at that moment. Selena was truly experiencing what it meant to be desperate. A group of people from a mistress-busting Justice League had pretended to be delivery drivers. When she let her guard down and opened the door, they stormed into her house. The moment they were inside, someone grabbed a fistful of her hair and slapped her twice across the face. "It's this mistress, this backstabbing piece of trash, everyone, come and see." Someone started a live stream. Live beating of a mistress. Someone pinched Selena's face, forcing it towards the camera, and shouted, "Everyone, take a look, this is the mistress, Selena Morgan, who caused Aurora to have an abortion and get a divorce. Look at this face. I wonder if she had plastic surgery to seduce Mr. Windsor. Come on, I'll pinch her for you. Is this nose real?" Someone squeezed Selena's nose. Selena was utterly humiliated, screaming frantically, "You're trespassing, I'm going to sue you. You're going to sue us." Someone laughed. "You're a mistress, and you dare to sue us. You interfered in someone else's marriage, you destroyed someone else's marriage, and it was your best friend's marriage at that. Selena, how can you live with yourself?" Selena shrieked. "Why shouldn't I be able to live with myself? It's Aurora who's the cripple. She's been a cripple for 5 years. Her legs can't even move. If you were men, would you still be interested in her? Mr. Windsor loves me. He stopped loving Aurora a long time ago. It was Aurora who refused to leave, who wouldn't make way." Slap, slap. "Bitch!" Someone slapped Selena hard twice more. At this point, the live stream chat was also seething with anger. This woman is insane. In this day and age, are mistresses really this audacious? Exactly, to be a mistress so righteously. These sluts are ruining public morals. We must not encourage this behavior. If we let these mistresses run rampant, who would dare to get married? Who would dare to be someone's wife? Marriage certificates would become a joke. I support you all in hitting her hard. The law does not punish the masses. You should ruin her face so she can't go around seducing other people's husbands. People who make a habit of being mistresses have no bottom line. They don't feel any shame. Hit her hard." The chat was filled with angry voices. The people at the scene also had their eyes filled with rage. Someone raised a hand and slapped Selena a few more times, making her scream in pain. "Don't hit my mommy, don't hit my mommy." Suddenly, Selena's daughter, Melody, threw herself onto Selena. Chapter 18. The little girl lay on top of Selena, crying hysterically. "Don't hit my mommy, my daddy will beat you all to death." The live stream chat erupted with excitement again. "Look, the bastard child of the mistress has appeared. And she dares to defend her mistress mother. It's infuriating. Did you know? A bastard child like this will have inheritance rights in the future. Isn't that ridiculous? That's why mistresses are so rampant, because their children can inherit. They say the child is innocent, but her mother isn't. What a sin." The chat was abuzz with curses. Just then, someone grabbed little Melody's arm and shouted, "Get out of the way, you little bastard, don't you know your mother is a mistress? Don't you know your mother ruined someone else's family?" Melody screamed back, "My mommy said she's not a mistress. My mommy said Auntie Aurora is the mistress because my daddy doesn't love Auntie Aurora at all. Mommy said the one who isn't loved is the mistress." The chat exploded again. "See, you feel sorry for her because she's a little girl, but she's already learned her mother's mistress ways. She actually thinks her mother isn't the mistress. Her mother has completely corrupted her values. She's not worthy of sympathy or pity." Poor Aurora. Ethan Windsor always projected this image of a devoted husband, and now it's completely collapsed. Men, you can't trust them. "You little bastard, you're a little bastard. Your mom is a mistress." Someone shouted insults. Melody bit the person's arm and screamed, "I'm not a bastard, my mommy is not a mistress, Auntie Aurora is, waya. How dare you bite me?" Someone shoved Melody to the ground. Melody fell and burst into tears. Selena panicked. She crawled over and shielded Melody. Only then did she truly become frightened. Her face was pale as she begged the crowd, "Please, can you let me and my daughter go? I was wrong, I know I was wrong." She said she was wrong, but in her heart, she never thought she had done anything wrong. She just wanted to get rid of these people first. "I know I've wronged Aurora. Don't worry, I will never bother Aurora again. Please, be merciful and let me and my daughter go, okay? She's just a child. She's a child, but you're not. Hit her, a mistress like this can't be spared." The crowd's anger was hard to quell. A group of people surrounded her, punching and kicking her. The insults they hurled were 1,000, 10,000 times worse than the ones she had thrown at Aurora. Someone even kicked her hard in the stomach a few times. Suddenly, Selena felt an unbearable pain in her abdomen, as if something was tearing inside her. A warm sensation spread down her inner thigh. Terrified, she screamed, "Stop hitting me, stop, someone save my baby." Just then, someone noticed that Selena was bleeding. "Stop, she's bleeding. If we keep hitting her, someone could die. A slut like her deserves to die anyway." As they were talking, a figure burst in. It was Ethan. His eyes were bloodshot, and he roared, "Selena, get out here." When the crowd saw Ethan, although they hated him, he was still the chairman of the Windsor Corporation. They didn't dare to offend him and instinctively made way for him. When Selena heard Ethan's voice, her desperate eyes lit up. She lay on the ground, disheveled, crying and screaming, "Ethan, baby, I'm here, they're hitting me, quick. Save our baby, I think I'm bleeding, our baby." "Ah, Ethan, what are you doing?" A piercing scream escaped Selena's lips. Her throat was suddenly in Ethan's grasp. He was squeezing so hard that his knuckles turned white. His eyes were bloodshot and bloodthirsty, as if he wanted to devour her whole. "I told you to never disturb Aurora for the rest of your life. Why did you send her those provocative messages?" Chapter 19. The rage boiling in Ethan's chest converged at his fingertips. He squeezed Selena's neck, as if intending to snap it. Selena's face turned purple, and she gasped for air. Enduring the pain, she raised a trembling hand to pry his fingers away. Ethan, I'm carrying your child." The pain in her abdomen was so intense she was close to fainting. That child was her last hope. If she could just give birth to a son, the entire Windsor fortune would belong to her and her children. She was so tired of being poor. She had grown up in a fatherless home, raised by a mother who ran a small laundry shop. There was a time when she had been kind, when she never dreamed of stealing another woman's husband, until she met Aurora. Aurora was so perfect, so kind and generous, seemingly without a malicious bone in her body. Aurora had known Ethan from a young age and eventually married him, becoming the wife of Glenwood City's richest man, living a life of leisure. For every one of her birthdays, Aurora would gift her the most expensive luxury goods, Hermes, Chanel, you name it. Meanwhile, she was just an ordinary office worker, earning a meager salary. For Aurora's birthdays, she could only afford cheap trinkets from boutique shops. Aurora never looked down on her gifts, but she herself did. She didn't understand. She was beautiful and capable. Why couldn't she find a man as rich and caring as Ethan? Once the seed of jealousy was planted, it was destined to sprout. From that moment on, she secretly vowed to live a better life than Aurora. She began to set her sights on Ethan. Aurora was disabled. She refused to believe Ethan wouldn't cheat. So every time there was an event with Ethan, she would accompany Aurora. Finally, she found her chance. That day, Ethan was dead drunk and mistakenly knocked on the wrong door. She should have sent him back to Aurora's room, but she didn't. Taking advantage of his drunken state, she drugged him. Later, she became pregnant. She knew she had found her meal ticket for life. As long as she latched onto Ethan, she would live a life of luxury. Ethan wanted her to have an abortion, so she went to his mother. She knew his mother had always wanted a grandchild and would surely let her keep the baby. As expected, Ethan's mother told her to keep it. She successfully gave birth to a daughter. To ensure she and their daughter lived well, Ethan bought her a villa. Under her persuasion, he also set up a $100 million education fund for their daughter. Ethan gave her everything material she could want, and she began to live the life of a wealthy wife, just like Aurora. But she still wasn't satisfied. She wanted to be the legitimate Mrs. Windsor. So she began to use various tactics to make Ethan spend more time with her. She believed that if he came to her place often enough, Aurora would eventually discover their affair. Once Aurora found out, she could force her to divorce. Given Aurora's personality, she would never tolerate betrayal and would definitely leave him. She succeeded. Aurora did find out, and she did leave. But she had never imagined that Aurora would be so thorough, so ruthless, as to expose their affair to the public. She had assumed Aurora would compromise and divorce quietly to protect Ethan's reputation because she loved him so much. She had underestimated Aurora's strength, and she had overestimated Ethan's love for her. She had foolishly believed that once Aurora was out of the picture, Ethan would marry her. Now, Ethan wanted her dead. Her throat was clamped in his grip. His eyes looked like they wanted to eat her alive. Even when she begged him, saying she was about to miscarry, he wouldn't let go. Instead, he sneered. "You should have miscarried a long time ago. It's just a bastard child, it doesn't deserve to be born. Besides, you caused Rora to miscarry. You deserve to die." Chapter 20. Hearing Ethan's words, Selena was completely stunned. She had never imagined Ethan could be so heartless. With red-rimmed eyes, she desperately pleaded with him. "Ethan, he's your child, didn't you tell me to take care of myself and give you a son? I'm sure it's a boy, I'll definitely give you a son. Shut up, you are not worthy." Ethan didn't want to hear another word. He had seen Selena's ugly true colors. A baby to his face, a demon behind his back. He now suspected that Selena had orchestrated everything. His fingers tightened again as he interrogated her. "Where did you take Rora? You'd better tell me now. If you don't, I have 1,000 ways to make you talk." Selena panicked, staring into Ethan's eyes. She trembled as she defended herself. "I really don't know where Aurora went, Ethan. Believe me, I really didn't kidnap her. I really don't know." "Impossible if it wasn't you. Where could she have gone? You forced her to divorce me, and when Rora refused, you had her kidnapped, didn't you?" Even now, Ethan stubbornly believed that Aurora hadn't wanted to divorce him voluntarily, that she must have been forced by Selena. Selena's face was contorted in pain. She thought that after being with Ethan for so many years, he must have had at least some affection for her. Over the years, Ethan had given her so many things, taken her to so many places. They had been intimate in so many different locations, even a few times in the villa where Aurora lived, in Ethan's study. And the entire Windsor family knew of her existence and had accepted her daughter. She had thought this was Ethan's special favor to her. She had thought that without Aurora, she would become the legitimate Mrs. Windsor. In the end, she had thought too much, and she had been wrong. She felt utterly ridiculous. Suddenly, she started to laugh, a crazed, hideous laugh. The onlookers live streaming thought she had gone mad. She laughed loudly, staring at Ethan. "Ethan, are you worried now? Ha ha ha, don't you think you're a hypocrite? Weren't we having a great time these past few years? You said I was gentle, obedient, and fun. You bought me villas and handbags. I almost thought I was already Mrs. Windsor. I almost thought you didn't love that cripple at all." "Shut your mouth, Rora is not a cripple." Ethan's face turned crimson, his chest feeling as if it had been struck a heavy blow. Selena continued her frantic, cold laughter. "Look, now they're calling me a slut, a mistress, a shameless whore. Ha ha ha, why isn't anyone calling you a scumbag? Do you think I can sleep with someone all by myself? You can't control what's in your pants, so who's to blame? Ethan Windsor, get it straight. You lost Aurora yourself. I didn't lose her for you." Slap. Ethan could no longer hold back. The despair and rage erupting from his chest were all channeled into that slap. The force of it made his hand sting. Selena's head snapped to the side from the blow. A fiery pain spread across her cheek, her ears rang, and a trickle of blood appeared at the corner of her mouth. Seeing her mother get hit, little Melody rushed into Selena's arms, then looked up at Ethan. "Bad daddy, don't you hit mommy. Mommy is bleeding. I hate auntie. Aurora, I hate her so much. Mommy said she's the one who stole you away." Hearing Melody's words, Ethan realized what a foolish mistake he had made. How could a detestable woman like Selena raise a child properly? The child was ruined in her hands. In that moment, he was filled with immense regret. His eyes narrowed as he stared at Selena. "Selena, listen carefully. Rora is my life. If I can't find her, I will kill you. You'd better think carefully about where you've hidden her." These words were ground out from between his teeth, the rage within them palpable. Selena trembled all over. I really didn't kidnap Aurora. I really didn't. Ethan, believe me. However, Ethan no longer believed a single word she said. Ethan closed his eyes and gave a signal to the bodyguards waiting outside the door. A moment later, a few men grabbed the screaming Selena and threw her into a car. Without a second glance, Ethan waved his hand. Take her to the hospital. The child is not to be kept. Chapter 21. Aurora's child was already gone. Ethan was in the depths of despair. He would not allow Selena to give birth to another bastard child. He was afraid that if Aurora came back, she would be heartbroken. He never wanted to make Aurora sad again. He then instructed 2 other bodyguards to take little Melody away. He would send her abroad to be raised, ensuring Selena would never see her again. She didn't deserve to be a mother. In the car, Selena struggled desperately, watching as the crying and screaming Melody was taken away by the bodyguards. She was in despair, kicking the car door frantically. Ethan, please don't take my child away. I really can't live without Melody. She's our daughter. You loved her so much. Please, let her go, okay? Ethan, I'll never do it again. I promise I'll be good from now on. I'll do whatever you say. I'll never bother Aurora again. I can even hide from her for the rest of my life. Please, just let me go, okay? Let Melody come back, but Ethan was unmoved. He had no heart left. He would not spare anyone who had hurt Aurora, including himself. The car soon arrived at a private hospital. It was the same place where he had spent a fortune hiring a medical team to care for Aurora. He had his men throw Selena into an operating room. No anesthesia. Ethan, ah, Selena's screams echoed. Ethan's heart was numb. Hearing her screams, he suddenly laughed, a terrifying sound. Aurora, did you hear that? I've avenged you. I've avenged our child. Please come back, okay? I really can't live without you, a grown man, squatting in a corner of the hospital, sobbing his heart out. Even the bodyguards didn't dare to approach him. Outside, the rain poured down, as if the entire city was mourning. Selena's child was gone. She lay on the hospital bed like a broken doll, all her former vitality gone. When she saw Ethan, she smiled. As she smiled, tears began to flow. She asked him stubbornly, Ethan, I was your lover for so many years. Tell me, did you ever love me? Even for a moment? Ethan stared at her, his eyes devoid of any warmth. What do you think? In my entire life, I have only ever loved one woman, and that is Rora. I told you, Rora is my life. No one can replace her. Ha ha ha, Selena laughed through her tears, staring at him. You love her, then why did you sleep with me? Ha ha ha, don't you find that ridiculous? You men are such hypocrites. Her words pierced Ethan's heart, but he had no rebuttal. He had brought all of this upon himself, but he still wouldn't give up. He stared at Selena. I'll ask you one more time. Where did you hide Rora? You really want to know? Selena smiled wanly. Ethan's eyes suddenly lit up, filled with hope. You know, don't you? Selena, please tell me. If you tell me, I'll let you see Melody. I'll buy you a house abroad, and you and your daughter can live there for the rest of your lives, never to return. Okay? Tell me, where is she? His eyes were filled with an urgency that Selena had never been the recipient of. She was mad with jealousy. A cold smile touched her lips. I can tell you, if you kneel down and beg me. She wanted to see just how far the proud Ethan Windsor would go for Aurora. She stared at him, thinking he would never kneel. But without a moment's hesitation, he knelt before her, begging like a desperate beggar. Tell me, where is Rora? I can't live without her. I really can't live without her. Ha ha ha, you're actually kneeling for her. Tears streamed down Selena's face. She had lost completely and utterly. She was just a plaything. Ethan had no feelings for her whatsoever. She began to laugh loudly, a venomous glint in her eyes. She's dead. She's already in hell. Go find her in hell, chapter 22. You're lying, Rora can't be dead. She wouldn't die. You're lying to me, you bitch, Ethan roared, his voice low and menacing. For every day I can't find Rora, you won't see the light of day. If I can't find her for the rest of my life, you will rot in here. Ethan bought the private hospital, turning it into a prison for Selena. He ordered his men to guard her and to slap her 40 times a day. Selena was guarded like a dog, her freedom completely gone. The storm of public opinion online continued to rage. The Windsor family's stock continued to fall. Unable to bear it any longer, Mrs. Windsor led the family in a press conference, publicly apologizing to Aurora and the public, and shifting all the blame onto Selena, claiming they had been deceived by her. But the public wasn't buying it. They were all waiting for Aurora to come forward and make a statement. They said that only if Aurora forgave the Windsor family would they forgive them. The Windsor family began a frantic search. But they contacted everyone who knew Aurora and came up with nothing. Ethan also went mad, searching the world for Aurora, but there was not a single trace of her. It was as if she had suddenly vanished, leaving no sign behind. Ethan paid a high price to buy Ashby back. The moment he saw Ashby, his eyes reddened. He hugged the cat tightly, as if he were seeing Aurora, his body finding a sliver of comfort. "Ashby, you're back. Aurora will come back too, right?" But the cat's new owner told him, "When Miss Clark gave the cat to me, she said its name wasn't Ashby anymore." Ethan stared at him, demanding, "What did she say its name was?" The new owner hesitated. "She said its name is Phoenix." Hearing the name Phoenix, Ethan was plunged into absolute despair, a despair that seeped into his very bones. Rebirth. It meant no more entanglement, it meant completely forgetting everything. Aurora wanted to forget their love, to start a new life. Was she going to find another man to start a new life with? Did she really want to forget him completely? Ethan hugged Ashby tightly, saying stubbornly, "No, his name isn't Phoenix. For the rest of his life, his name will be Ashby." But he didn't know that Aurora's soul was already in another world, and the body she had left behind in this world had been swallowed by the sea. The next morning, a crowd of reporters stood outside Ethan's house. Ethan didn't hide. Facing the reporters, he bowed deeply, apologizing to everyone. A reporter asked if he had anything else to say to Aurora and whether he would divorce her. Ethan, with a stubbled chin, shook his head. It had only been one night, but he looked as if he had aged a decade. His eyes were bloodshot. He clearly hadn't slept at all. Yes, he had spent the night on the sofa, clutching Aurora's pajamas. No one knew how he had survived. Facing the cameras, he said, word by word, "I was wrong. I deserve to die, but I still love Aurora." Aurora, do you hear me? No matter where you are in the world, please watch this video. I, Ethan Windsor, am a bastard. I hurt you. I deserve to die. But I love you, I really love you. I said I would love you for a lifetime, and yes, a day less doesn't count as a lifetime. If you don't come back, I will spend the rest of my life in your room. Aurora, come back. I will die without you. I really will die. Yes, without Aurora, he really would die. He had no idea that his body was sustained by Aurora's sentient antidote. Now that the connection was broken, his body was also in constant decline. Chapter 23. The internet was abuzz with discussions about Ethan. Some thought he was acting, continuing his charade of deep love to salvage his image and boost the Windsor Corporation's stock. Others thought that perhaps he had genuinely been seduced by a woman like Selena, that he had been bewitched, and that his heart might still truly belong to Aurora. They felt Aurora should come forward and clarify things. Soon, a Find Aurora campaign was launched online, hoping that she would step forward and make her choice. Whether she chose to divorce or to get back together with Ethan, the matter needed a conclusion. But no matter how much the topic trended online, Aurora did not appear. No one knew that she was already dead 3 days after Aurora's departure. Ethan had searched the entire city of Glenwood. He had checked every mall, every hotel, but couldn't find her. He was going mad, and he had become a shell of his former self. When Juliet went to see him, the room reeked of alcohol. Ethan was sprawled on the bed like a dead dog. Juliet pinched her nose and angrily yanked open the curtains. The harsh light made Ethan shut his eyes tightly. His stubble had grown longer. He was still clutching Aurora's pajamas, his eyes dark and bruised. Juliet was so angry she wanted to slap him. She snatched Aurora's pajamas from his grasp. "Brother, have you lost your mind? What are you doing? Are you going to be like this for the rest of your life? Give it back," Ethan roared. Furious, Juliet refused to give him the pajamas. Look at what a mess you've become. The company needs you to handle things. The shareholders are clamoring for a meeting. And you sent little Melody abroad. The child is crying every day, refusing to eat, wanting to come back." But Ethan seemed not to hear her. He snatched Aurora's pajamas back from Juliet. They still held her scent. He buried his face in them, greedily inhaling, creating the illusion that Aurora was still by his side. Seeing him like this, Juliet grabbed his wrist in frustration and dragged him. "No, you can't go on like this. You need to wake up, come with me. She dragged Ethan to the edge of the swimming pool. Then she pushed him into the water. You need to clear your head. Is Aurora going to be gone for the rest of her life? Are you going to be like this, wanting to die for the rest of your life? Ethan had completely lost the will to live. His body quickly sank into the water, terrified. Juliet immediately jumped into the pool to pull him out. It was then that she saw something glinting at the bottom of the pool. She grabbed Ethan and pointed to the spot. Ethan was a good swimmer. He opened his eyes and looked at the sparkling object. One glance was all it took for him to recognize it. It was the wedding ring he had given Aurora. He had commissioned a master jeweler to design it specifically for her. The inside of the band was engraved with the initials of their names. She had thrown their wedding ring into the pool. Ethan swam forcefully towards the ring and snatched it. After getting out of the pool, he stared at the ring, his fingers caressing the engraved names. The memory of his proposal flashed through his mind. He had knelt before Aurora and promised, "Aurora, I will love you for a lifetime. Please marry me." When Aurora put on the ring, she had also told him, "A lifetime, not a day less, or I will leave." She had kept her word. When she discovered his betrayal, she left without a second thought. Ethan clutched the ring, tears streaming down his face. He didn't know that, at that very moment, a news report was being broadcast on television. A woman's body had been found on the coast. Not far away, a wheelchair had also been discovered. Chapter 24. The news quickly became the top headline. Someone recognized the wheelchair by the sea as the one Ethan had personally built for Aurora. The internet was in an uproar. Oh my God, the deceased must be Aurora. They must have pushed her to her death. How desperate must she have been to take her own life? My heart aches for Aurora. She was such a good person. I remember she used to do a lot of charity work online and even established a stray cat shelter, hiring many people to take care of the cats. I also heard she sponsored many orphans, using all the allowance Ethan gave her to support these children. She was a truly great person. Why would she kill herself? She even aborted her child with Ethan. She must have been utterly desperate to do that. That Selena deserves to die. She literally drove a person to her death. Do you think it could have been murder? That Selena murdered Aurora? All sorts of conspiracy theories began to circulate online. At the same time, the Windsor family also received the news. Mrs. Windsor called Ethan, but he didn't answer. She had to call Juliet. Mrs. Windsor's voice was urgent. "Where's your brother?" Juliet looked at the desolate Ethan, who was clutching the wedding ring, his eyes red from crying. She couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. "Brother can't come to the phone right now. Aurora is dead, did you know?" "What?" Juliet's whole body trembled, her face turned pale, and a chill ran down her spine. She stared at Ethan in disbelief, her throat tight. What did you say? Who's dead?" Mrs. Windsor's voice was frantic. "Aurora, it's on the news. Someone found a woman's body by the sea. Not far from it was a wheelchair. The wheelchair your brother personally built for her. It's one of a kind, there's no mistake." Juliet staggered, muttering, "How could this be? No, it's impossible." At that moment, the doorbell rang. The maid went to open the door. Several police officers stood there. "Excuse me, who is Ethan Windsor?" "Brother." Juliet didn't know how to tell Ethan. She could only stare at the police officers, tears streaming down her face. Ethan, dazed, still clutching the wedding ring, said, "I am." The officer immediately said to him, "Please come with us. There's a body that needs to be identified." A what?" Ethan's eyes widened. The officer repeated, "A body." A chill ran through Ethan. He suddenly laughed. "Why should I go with you to identify a body? I'm not going." Why should I go? He already had a premonition, but he refused to believe it. He didn't believe Aurora could be so cruel to rather die than stay with him. But the officer immediately handed him a photo. "Mr. Windsor, we've investigated. This wheelchair was likely personally made by you for your wife. It's unique in Glenwood City. It was found near the body. And your wife, has she not been missing for several days? No, it's not her. I'm not going." Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. He took a deep breath, glaring at the police officers. "Rara is just playing a game with me. She'll be back. She's not missing. She's just hiding from me. I'll find her." "Brother," Juliet grabbed him, crying, "let's go and see. Sister-in-law has been missing for several days, and you personally built this wheelchair. Maybe it really is her." Juliet was sobbing uncontrollably, but Ethan shook her hand off, his eyes wide. Impossible, it's absolutely not, Rora, we love each other so much. How could she bear to leave me and die? She wouldn't. It's definitely not her. But as he spoke, tears began to fall. Was his Rora really dead? Had she really left him for good? Chapter 25. Ethan cried in the end. He staggered along with the police to the morgue. At the entrance to the morgue, Ethan gripped Juliet's arm, out of control. Juliet, she's not dead, right? The person inside, it's not her, right? Juliet was so choked up she couldn't utter a single word. The answer was inside. The police opened the door to the morgue. A body lay cold and alone on a gurney, covered by a white sheet. Juliet supported Ethan as he stumbled into the room, one step at a time. His throat bobbed, tears welling in his eyes. The female medical examiner inside looked at Ethan. "Are you the family?" As she spoke, her fingers moved to lift the white sheet. Ethan grabbed the medical examiner's arm. The corners of his eyes were blood red, his voice choked. I'll do it myself." The medical examiner stopped. Ethan's well-defined fingers, trembling, reached for the white sheet. His knuckles were pale. He muttered, "Rora wouldn't die. This can't be Rora, it's not her." But his fingers were shaking too violently. Even Juliet was trembling. The white sheet was lifted, inch by inch. Suddenly, Ethan stopped. Juliet was already retching, crying as she threw up. "Sister-in-law, Rora, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." The moment Ethan saw Aurora, he didn't cry. An immense grief was swirling in his heart, like a massive stone pressing down on him. But he actually smiled. He reached out and took Aurora's cold hand. Her hand was already stiff, terrifyingly cold. He smiled. "Rora, I finally found you. I knew you wouldn't leave me. Get up, get up. We were supposed to go see the sunrise. I'll take you to see the sunrise. Didn't you want to raise a lot of stray cats? When you wake up, I'll adopt all the stray cats in the city, okay? The baby is gone, but we can have another one. If you want, we can have a son and a daughter. The son will look like me, and the daughter will look like you, okay? Get up. Why are you so cold? Rora, talk to me, okay?" Ethan's voice began to tremble. Finally, the tears fell. The immense pain made him double over, one hand clutching his chest. He felt like he was dying, like he couldn't go on living. "Rora, please get up, okay? It's cold in here." He bent down, trying to lift Aurora. But the medical examiner stopped him. "Sir, you can't hold her. She's deceased. She's been in the seawater. There are bacteria on her." "Get away from me, she's not dead." Ethan had lost his mind. He roared. He had to take Aurora back. She was so afraid of the cold. How could she go into the sea? She was so afraid of the dark. She needed him to hold her to sleep at night. How could she go into the sea? Yes. She would rather sink to the bottom of the sea than see him again. What kind of despair was that? It was a pain that pierced his heart and bones, like being cut by 1,000 knives. Aurora's skin was a deathly pale color. She was wearing a white dress, just like when they first met. Her flowing white skirt, walking on a spring path, had drifted deep into his heart with just one glance. Even when he proposed, she had worn a white dress. In that moment, Ethan could no longer hold himself up. He suddenly coughed up a large mouthful of blood and collapsed to the floor. Chapter 26. Ethan didn't know how long he was unconscious. In his dreams, he saw only Aurora's shadow. From their first meeting to the end, everything between them was like a movie, coming and going in a rush. The day Ethan woke up, the police had already concluded their investigation into Aurora's death. Suicide by drowning. The internet was flooded with condolences. People spontaneously placed flowers on the beach in memory of Aurora. Hundreds of bouquets were sent to the shore. The orphans Aurora had sponsored also went to the beach to light candles for her, praying for her peaceful departure, and the Windsor family had taken Aurora to the crematorium. When Ethan woke up, Aurora was truly gone from his world. All he saw was a small urn. Juliet's eyes were red from crying. These past few days had felt like a lifetime. She hated herself for deceiving Aurora. If just one person in the family had told Aurora the truth sooner, maybe she wouldn't have died. She handed the urn to the now awake Ethan. "This is sister-in-law's urn. She probably doesn't want to stay in this house. If I were you, I would set her free, scatter her ashes into the sea." After all, Aurora would rather die than see Ethan again. At this point, Ethan's soul had been completely drained. His heart was dead, having followed Aurora. He knew that the rest of his life was meant to be lived in repentance. It was pouring rain. The heavens themselves were mourning for Aurora. Ethan wore the black suit Aurora had chosen for him. Like a walking corpse, he stood by the sea, holding the urn. The seawater was so cold. He couldn't imagine the depth of despair Aurora must have felt in the moment she jumped into the water. He had no tears left to cry. He just slowly closed his eyes, then took a handful of ashes and scattered them into the sea. Juliet was right. Aurora didn't want to be with him. Now that she was dead, he didn't want to disgust her. So he would send her to a place she loved. She said she loved watching the sunrise over the sea. From now on, every day would be a sunrise. "Rara, I know you hate me." Ethan's voice was hoarse, his long eyelashes casting a shadow on his face. He confessed, I know I no longer have the right to say I love you, but I really do love you. You are my life." "You're dead. What is the meaning of my life now?" He coughed. These past few days, he could clearly feel his body getting weaker by the day. He didn't even want to see a doctor. He felt his life constantly slipping away. His face was abnormally pale. No one knew that he was coughing up large mouthfuls of blood at night. He didn't have much time left. All the symptoms that had disappeared years ago seemed to have returned. He didn't know that it was Aurora who had been protecting him all along, that she had sacrificed herself to keep him alive until now. None of it mattered anymore. He felt it was for the best now. He was no longer afraid of death. The meaning of his life was Aurora. Now that Aurora was gone, his meaning was gone too. He reached out, scattering the last of the ashes into the sea. A final tear escaped his eye. He coughed violently, spitting up more blood. But he felt no pain, he just gazed into the distance. In the mist, he thought he saw Aurora's smiling face. She was sitting on the beach, welcoming the first ray of morning sun, dancing gracefully. A smile touched Ethan's lips. He reached out towards the distance. One day, he would see Aurora again. And on that day, he would hold on to her tightly and never let go.